Senator from Oklahoma.
Mr. President, I regretfully am going to oppose this. I'm going to have to cover some points here that my good friend from Kentucky made that I think are totally wrong. First of all, I don't agree that we need to be going up there with federal dollars and bailing out cities that are having problems, and of course that's a decision that's going to be made, I suppose, by a lot of people. I also, when the senator from Kentucky talks about sending billions of dollars overseas, you know, there's some of the foreign aid I would agree with him on, and I would join him. Certainly not on this one. But before I tell you why, let me just clarify something, because there are people, members of this body and members outside, who are conservatives, believing this is some kind of a conservative program to defund the military in Egypt. Let me assure you, it's not. And this is coming from a person who's probably, and in fact I'm certain of it, I've been ranked as the most conservative member of this body more than any other single person has. So this is coming from a conservative, not from a liberal, and not from a Democrat. We have a unique situation, and I'd like to respond to a couple of things that my friend from Kentucky said. First of all, yeah, it probably fits the description of a coup, and I know what the law is. The law says that you can't send money, foreign aid, after a coup. I have a bill drawn up right now that if this is determined to be a coup, it could pass the House and the Senate and be signed by the President in one day. So that's something that can be done. And I would have the best of intentions of obeying the law to the letter. Now, as far as the situation in Egypt, Morsi's gone. Let's face that reality. There are a lot of things that we don't like about this. But I will say this, if you have any feelings at all for our good friends, our best friends in the Middle East, that's Israel, then you can't consider this amendment. Israel has all of the interests at stake. And it goes back to 1979, the Camp David Accords, and I remember that very well. The Camp David Accords put together something between Israel and Egypt. But keep in mind, in Egypt, it's not Egypt, it's the military, the Egypt military. They have been our friends, they have been Israel's friends for years and years and years, and since 1979. And if we turn our backs on the military now, there are others who would love to fill that vacuum. Should they have F-16s? I'm glad they have F-16s. They ought to have more F-16s. And some have been purchased and not delivered yet. They should be delivered. But if it's not going to be F-16s, if we should pass an amendment like this, you're going to find yourselves with a bunch of MiG-29s coming over from Russia instead of our F-16s. If this were 10 years ago, if this were 15 years ago, I might agree with my friend from Kentucky. But that was before we realized the threats that we have in the Middle East. We have some friends in the Middle East. We have Israel, we have Jordan, we have Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. If that coalition of friends in the Middle East breaks up, what can happen to us here in America? Our intelligence has said, and it's unclassified since 2007, that Iran will have the capability of a weapon and a delivery system by 2015. If we don't have our friends in the Middle East to keep that from happening, we could pass an amendment like this, turn our backs on Israel, and that is exactly the thing that could happen. So I know there are a lot of people who want to talk on this who are a lot more articulate than I am. But I can say from a conservative, from this conservative, we cannot do this to our friends from Israel and our other allies in the Middle East.